Ntungi people lived in Ntungi location, and the Wero people lived in Wero location. The word Ntungi itself means the people who go about knocking their heads over things, basically because they are blind. This does not mean that Ntungi people were blind. Wero means light. Wero people had dogs and goats, but Ntungi people had only sheep and chicken. Ntungi had no means of crossing the violent river, partitioning the two locations, but Wero could cross over to Ntungi people using a bizarre technology. If Ntungi people drew near these technological contraptions, they would develop bad blisters all over their body, so they kept away from them. When dogs backed from the Wero's side, the prey across the river would run around scared, and the Ntungi people would easily hunt them. Ntungi people learned to rely on the barking of those dogs to assure them of game meat, such that they more or less worshipped them. They first perceived them as good for a good hunt, then a necessity for availability of meat, and eventually as holy beings worthy of worship. The Wero people also assured them that they themselves didn't worship them, and in that way the dogs agreed to bark, hence assuring them ample supply of meat for their people. But it was a taboo for Wero people to let the animals cross the river. Ntungi people decided at least to have an idea of how these holy dogs looked like. The Wero people carved the image of a goat and gave them, assuring them that it was the dog that barked. Ntungi people were happy and decided to constantly give gifts to Wero people for their generosity. Ntungi people then carved replica statue goats, many times bigger than the ones they had been given. Each village had at least one. One day, the dogs in Wero delayed their barking, and the Ntungi people decided to go and pray to the statue to bless them with a good hunt. Their hunt was very successful. As years went by, they developed innovations which helped them to catch the prey more easily. They associated that with the worship of the statue dog, in quotes, given to them by the Wero people. They became more dependent on the statue worship, though of course knowing that the real god that resembled the statue was on the other side. They believed that the god on the other side was grateful for being represented on the Ntungi side by the statues, and so barking was no longer necessary for the Ntungi to have successful hunts. When the hunt was unsuccessful, they had to arrange for penance to the god and demonstrate other acts of piety, such as fasting and sacrificing their chicken to the goat statue god. They loved their god so much that they believed he was god of their salvation to successful hunts forever. Many generations later, the Ntungi people developed a technology to cross the river to the Wero people. When they crossed, they found goats grazing, and all knelt down to worship, proclaiming in very high tones, "Hail, the dogs of our salvation!" These gods, however, seemed to ignore them and continued to mind their own business of browsing over the foliage. As they proceeded to tour the Wero location, they came across dogs that blocked their path, barking at them. They were astonished that the animal that barked was not that which they were meant to believe was. They discovered that the statue of their god was actually not the god of their salvation. It never barked, but instead made strange noises which could not even startle a chicken, leave alone scare prey across the river. They had been worshipping a false god who was actually a goat, while the true god dog who barked was very different. They were very annoyed with the Wero people for lying to them for so many centuries. Since they could not cross over with the animals to show their people the falsehood, they made a statue of the true dog god and took it to Ntungi elders who were already conducting pious ceremonies in front of the goat dog god, in front of the goat god. The group tried to reason with the elders, but the elders could have none of it. The group tried to reason with the elders, but the elders could have none of it. The word spread throughout the Ntungi people, yet none wanted to change the way they believed or perceived their God to be like. Many more people crossed the river to confirm the story and came back with different ideas. They had amassed congregations and were making good living through them, and so didn't want to effect changes. They told people to continue worshipping the goat, and their salvation was still guaranteed, since they knew then for sure who they were referring to. They reassured them that the dog god on Wero's side knew that he was called goat on Ntungi's side, and so understood and hence comfortable with it. Hence, majority of Ntungi people were convinced that salvation was guaranteed even if they continued worshipping the goat god, as long as they knew back in their mind the true dog god of salvation. However, some decided that the new truth was too much to ignore, and when preaching, started referring to the god as dog goat or goat dog, to reassure the true God and their congregation that it was he they worshipped and not really a god. They continued with the hope of keeping their congregations intact, and the subjects continued to believe that the dog god would grant them the salvation even if they referred to him as a goat or a dog. Hebrew had a problem. He always liked to dwell on the truth no matter what. He was never bothered by the numbers and leaned where the truth lay, even if he was the only one with it. However, this was different. He had been chosen in the church to bless the people. He gave the body of goat God to people to eat, and also the blood to drink. His goat God had favored him with extra honor of cleaning his holiest ground, where only he treads. Hebrew shook his head as he sat under the moringa tree shade, contemplating. Who do I really owe allegiance to? The goat God, dog God, or goat dog God? He performed the holy duties believing wholly that it was the true God whom he served, and always knew his God had a short stiff tail pointing upwards from his spinal end, had horns, and had heard him barking from the Wero side last time they went hunting. As he continued going to church, Hebrew couldn't help feeling betrayed by the statue of the goat God, his kings, friends, associates, and his disciples whose statues were also goats. There was no sign of the dog god or any of his associates in his church, and by the look of things, the church leaders were not going to make any changes to reflect the new revelation. Is it that they do not know that we now know, or could it be true that they simply cannot let go the worship of the first one? He pondered one Sunday morning as he went to church. When in great thought, Hebrew had a habit of walking with his hands in the pocket and his head looking at his feet as they moved spontaneously without being told what to do. He was schizoid built, around 5 feet and 8 inches tall, with a belly which looked like he was 36 weeks pregnant. In the church, they sang and carried the statue of the goat god. That was more worrisome to him. The assumption was too much to bear and drained all worship energy from him. Hebrew had a deep love for his God and would never give up. But had to be the true God, otherwise it would be a waste of time worshipping falsehood. As he went home from the church, he knew what to do. Few of the Ntungi people accepted the reality from the new revelation and knew the dog God would only pay attention to you only if you called him by his name. Especially as the dog always said, it is only if you call me by my holy name that you will get salvation. This is common knowledge without which the people would not be able to get any salvation from their God. The Almighty hates lies, but we have always loved to worship and rejoice in lies. And even in the face of truth, we cannot let go. Why has falsehood meant so much to man? Why has falsehood meant so much to man? So, you tell me, if we now know there was no letter J in the Hebrew language, then automatically the Son of God was not named Jesus. So when you write in the Holy Bible, thou shalt call his name Jesus, is it not a great lie? And if his true name is Yahushua, are we expecting him to understand that we are referring to him? Are we expecting him to understand that we are referring to him? So if he walked ahead of you and you shout, Jesus, will he heed your call? And if somebody called him Yahushua, will he not respond to find out who is calling him? Why are we then so content with a lie? If the people in the Holy Bible are portrayed as black, why were they printed as white? And why were original black paintings repainted white? Why was there so much effort to turn truth into lies and make people worship lies? And why are congregations so blind and as obstinate as Pharaoh to stick with evidently false beliefs emanating from the lies formulated and told? Why are we so content with a lie and bound down to it, expecting the Father of truth to accept this as the truth? Thessalonians, God shall send them strong delusion because they want to believe a lie. So they will be deluded that the falsehood is truth. And so they gather people and tell them the lies. People believe them and they die in the same way. They go to the devil. John 8. He speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. So what difference are you? Satan is the father of lies. You have made lies. Yes, you are just as your father of the lies. So where he goes, your father goes, there you go. Romans. Who changed the truth of God into a lie? Is it you? If you ever change the truth of God into a lie, you are a liar. And then you tell people about it. They believe you. You have managed to throw people into hell so many times over. Revelation. Neither whosoever worketh abomination or makes a lie will enter the kingdom. It's not in the book of life. So you can know you are just moving dead. You are a moving dead. The proud have forged a lie against me. Oh yes. They have repented the truth with lies. They have formulated lies. And they have spread it very piously to the people. And people believe them. When they look at them, they see they are so pious according to the way they teach. They look so pious. And the people get, enshrouded in it and believe in it. And so they will also die, unfortunately, just like them. Because it's all father of lies. They are with them. They are with the father of lies. Jeremiah. Thou makest these people to trust a lie. Yes, you represent the Holy God. And you make lies about him. And then you make people trust the lie. You hand the same hell. Oh, I'm finished. You are just a moving dead. Jeremiah. You caused you to trust in a lie. God sends you to represent him. And you think if you lie, he will agree with you. I'm sorry. He will never agree to a lie. And with a liar, you'll never. So there you are. You are alone. Ezekiel. They divine a lie unto thee. They take lies, they make them holy. And so people worship that holiness of lies. And so the end product, they're in the same mark. They will drink the same cup of tea. They are gone. They are moving dead. Zechariah. Diviners have seen a lie and have told false dreams they comfort in vain. What's the difference? What's the difference between you concocting a lie and then diviners telling a lie? You are just a diviner as that one telling a lie. But it's all what you tell is all in vain, for you never see the kingdom of, you will never get there. All what you do is in vain. Revelations, my friend, mantras and orators and whatsoever, and those who make lies, the lies you've made, I'm telling you, thinking that you are on the ways, you are representing God or something like that. Then maybe you are representing only the other God, that is the God of lies, but not the true God, not the Father of the truth. The Father of the truth will never ever accept a lie, however comforting you make it to be, or you make the people get comfortable with a lie. It means a lie. A spade is not a big spoon. You cannot believe that a pencil is a pen, and because you believe it so hard, so piously that it's a pen, it will never turn into a pen. It is a pencil. Is that not plain? Do you need to go to school to know that? Now, that is my first preaching. And I hope that I'll continue to be an instrument of Yah, the Almighty God who created heaven and earth and everyone and everything. Hallelujah.